I was muted. I was bloody muted. Could you believe that? But anyway, live watch along stream, Cork and Kerry. Here we go. The Munster Senior Football Championship semi-final. I decided, you know what, when I woke up today, do you know what? I think I'm going to do a watch along for this game. Why not? Why not? I'm in a good mood. So what's the worst thing that can happen other than Kerry probably demolishing Cork in about 20 minutes and then we'll probably have nothing to talk about. But I said, you know what? We'll do a watch along stream for this game. The first championship watch along stream. For those of you who are new to the channel or don't know what we normally do for watch along streams, we obviously watch the game. Oh, well, we don't watch. I react to the game live, give my opinions on the game live, describe the game. Bit of an alternative commentary, you could say, from that of Sky Sports GAA. And obviously, for obvious reasons, for copyright reasons and everything else, we don't show the game, before anyone's clicking on this thinking that this is because you do get a lot of angry people sometimes who click on this and for whatever reason they think it's the full game. Not the case. It says it in the title, Cork versus Kerry live watch along stream. So there you go. All sorted. So now that we've cleared that up, we can discuss the game. And I tell you what, very, very excited for this game. Even if it is probably going to be a very one-sided game. Make no mistake about that. Kerry are obviously one of the they are the favourites for the All-Ireland this year. They're the best team in the country. They have the best players. In terms of David Clifford, who's a generational talent. You've got, obviously, his brother, Paddy Clifford, in there, who's very good. Sean O'Shea. It's just so much talented players. And actually what we'll do is we will get the team sheets up on the screen. There's been no changes from the Kerry team. And there's only been one change, I believe, from the Cork team. So we'll get the Kerry team up on the screen there. Probably not the most visible image in the world, but that was the only sort of graphic I could find there. So Shane Ryan in goal, Graham O'Sullivan, Jason Foley, Tom O'Sullivan in the full back line, Brian O'Buglock, Tyg Morley, Gavin White make up the half back line. A midfield of Jeremy O'Connor and Jack Barry, and then a half forward line of Stephen O'Brien, Sean O'Shea, and Adrian Spillane. And then a full forward line, Tony Brosnan, David Clifford, Paddy Clifford, and no changes to that Kerry team at this moment in time anyway. There might be maybe a change right before throw-in, but we'll wait and see what happens. Let me know, is that the best available Kerry team going at the minute? I'd be curious to know for Kerry supporters. Paul Gainey, obviously he's not in the side. I mean, Tony Brosnan maybe, obviously getting in there, a young player who's obviously come through in the last couple of years. Very big talent, obviously Dr. Croak's footballer, I believe, as well. And he's done very well at club level for Dr. Croak. So good to see him get some game time. Obviously involved at times last year, but has had a couple of injury problems. So, Paul Gainey, Tony Brosnan, Tony Brosnan probably the future. Not exactly sure what age he is, but I know he's certainly younger than Paul Gainey. And obviously the half-forward line in there. I've always been a big fan of Stephen O'Brien, but he has struggled with injuries and hasn't quite set the world alight really in the last few seasons. We'll throw the Cork graphic up on the screen. You've got Michael Martin there in goal, Kevin O'Donovan, Maurice Shanley, Kevin Flahiv make up the full back line, John Cooper, Rory Maguire, Matthew Taylor in the half back line, Ian Maguire and Colm O'Callaghan in midfield, Daniel Deneen, Sean Porter, who was a late change there, John O'Rourke, Stephen Sherlock, Brian Hurley, Cathal O'Mahony. So, there were some, I guess a lot of people were feeling that Ian Maguire was going to be injured coming into this one. That isn't the case. He is available and he does start for Cork, and there's been no late changes as well. So, and you know what, you might as well start him, even if he does have a slight injury, because look, this is the biggest game of the year probably for Cork, in all honesty, and this is the big rivalry, the big game. I know obviously they will have, if they do lose this game, which we would all expect at this stage, they will have qualifiers to attend to, but why not throw him out into this game, even if it is just a slight injury. A couple of comments coming in there. We'll definitely get to them in just a moment. I think what we will do is we will throw a score prediction up on the screen. And this is what I'm going to go for. Cork 10 points, Kerry 3-15. So yeah, I think that's basically that's the result I'm going to go for right there. Might be being a bit generous there to to Cork, maybe with Kerry just scoring the 5 more points and the 3 goals. But as I said before, I expect Kerry to start very fast, to come flying out of blocks. And I think what they will do is the more the game goes on, when it gets into the second half, I think they will slow the game down, take their foot off the gas, make a lot of substitutions. Cork might grow a little bit in confidence towards the end and maybe make the scoreline, even though that's not a respectable scoreline, really, is it? But they might make it less bad than what it is. But yeah, that's a score prediction I am going to be going with right there. So yeah, Match Attacks Kid says hi. Hope all is well, my man. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe you're a Kildare fan. So big result there against Sligo in the under-20 semi-finals. Great stuff. After seeing how Kerry played versus Mayo, Cork should be very worried. Absolutely. They definitely should be. Because we've seen how open Mayo were at the back and how easily they were cut apart. And that's what some of the best players. We're seeing Roy Keane in attendance there. Very interesting there. I thought he would have been watching the Brighton Man United game or working for the other hand side of Sky. But interesting that he's in attendance there. Didn't think he'd want to see his native Cork get an absolute battering to that of Kerry, but interesting. But yeah, I think, look, I would say Cork maybe it's an interesting tactic really from them. I mean, do they play defensive? Do they try and go toe to toe with Kerry? There really is no answer. If you go defensive and you sort of limit that space, maybe you keep the score down, keep it a bit more respectable, but then you're not going to win the game that way either. So yeah. GA lad says score prediction: Kerry 5-20, Cork 7 points. That is, I mean, if that happens, that would be mental, wouldn't it? I mean, you're talking about nearly a 28-point victory there, if my maths are correct. That would be some statement. I mean, Kerry have the capabilities, and considering how poor Cork have been this year, it's not exactly inconceivable. But yeah, you would feel surely that Cork are gonna put up a better showing than that. What's given me confidence as a neutral, and look, as a Dublin fan, I would like to see Cork win, because I obviously don't want to see what would be my biggest rivals win games, All Irelands, all the rest. But what's given me confidence as a neutral and as a Dublin fan watching this is maybe, we've seen 2019 Cork were very poor that year. Kerry were in the league final. They actually got beat by Mayo in the league final that time around, so a little bit different. But in that Munster final, they gave Kerry quite a run for their money, and it was only a 2 or 3 point game, I think it was, in the end. Now, situations are a little bit different. Kerry have improved massively since then. Make no mistake about that. But it will be interesting to see, could Cork maybe just give it a bit of a go? I really don't know. I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see. We're just seeing the national anthems and all the rest there, as both teams getting ready for what is going to be a one-sided game. We know that Kerry are going to be the better team. It doesn't take a genius to certainly work out that one. I'm just gonna give the stream a share there on Twitter, so just bear with me there. But we're just about to get going. We'll get a score graphic up on the screen there as well, as both sides come out. The throw in, you've got Ian Maguire in there, Jeremy O'Connor, Jack Barry, all within the throw in. Cork winning the first ball. They win the throw in. Can they start fast? Let's not forget they started quite fast against Kerry last year. They actually had a 6 point lead quite early on, and once Kerry got going, though, it was certainly a one-way street game. But Cork have won the free, and Stephen Sherlock done well there, and he's standing over here. Can Cork take an early lead? The Cork fans will be saying, stop the count, end the game right here, because they're going to take the lead, you would presume. And they sure have. Kerry looking to just go straight down the other end here and build something. Perfect. Right, we can focus on the game now. It's just sharing the stream there. But Kerry, interesting seeing Parky Rin. I've obviously watched a few Cork games down the years. A few Cork club games, so I've seen the stadium. But certainly you can see how narrow it is, how tight the pitch is, and obviously in terms of capacity wise as well, you can see they're clearly nowhere near the wavelength of Parky Queeve. Kerry very high up the pitch here, but Cork take the kick out short. Looking to start fast, and they certainly do need to start fast to give their team a big opportunity. Dylan Duffy says it might be similar to the Kerry versus Meath Joe McDonough hurling game last weekend that I went to. The score was 6-25 to 13 points. Look, I don't think it will be quite as crazy as that, but look, Cork have started well here. 2 minutes gone, they've the opening scored. They're on the ball here again. Kerry standing off the Cork fullbacks there. Sherlock on the ball. Kerry will need to be patient. Owen O'Donoghue says the pitch is actually bigger than Parky Queeve. The talk of it being a tight pitch is an urban myth. Do you know what? As I was saying that, I was looking at the pitch and I was thinking it actually is quite a big pitch, to be fair. So yeah, maybe it isn't then. But certainly a lot of people that I've heard speaking about this game have said that that the pitch is tighter. I've never been to Parky Rin myself, but sure, look, how tight the pitch is or whatever. Look, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. If you're the better team, you're the better team. And Cork have started well. They've gone for the opportunity there, but it's gone wide there from Sherlock or from Cathal O'Mahony, I should say. But look, Kerry a point up here early on. Hopefully my stream here isn't too far behind of real time. It might be a minute behind, maybe. I'm not sure. But Cork have the opening score of the game here so far. Kerry just trying to get their first championship score of 2022. Being patient on the ball, no rush. But you can see there that Cork with almost every player there inside their own 45. So, setting up very defensively. They're going to make this tough for Kerry, and probably is the right way of going about it, because you go toe-to-toe with this Kerry team, they're going to blow you away. I mean, we've seen what they done to Mayo when Mayo went toe-to-toe, So, right decision here from Cork to go about it the same way, or to go about it in the complete opposite way, I should say. But Kerry on the attack. Paddy Clifford running through. Has he been dispossessed? He has been. Kerry just need to get a score here. They need to, in my opinion, just start shooting a bit more from distance. As GAA lad was saying there, Kerry seemed to be looking for an early goal and maybe a little bit fixated on that. But they have turned the ball over from Paddy Clifford. He should take his point, and he does. And David Clifford, as a matter of fact, levels proceedings, and Kerry get their opening score of the championship, and it is David Clifford. And probably not that big of a surprise that it is Mr. Clifford, and one of, I'm sure, a number of points he will kick this year. Brilliant turnover there. Stephen O'Brien working it into Clifford. And yeah, that's, mentally, that's a big score as well, because Cork had turned it over, and turnovers as well, psychologically big, especially for a team like Cork to sort of look like they have the advantage. They turn the ball over, but then lose possession. Kerry get it, go down the other end, score within an instant. And that just bit of a hammer blow there for Cork. But look, 5 minutes in, early days, of course. They'll be happy so far with how the game has gone. But look, long way to go. And Ian McGore on the ball now, just Cork trying to be patient. You can see Kerry well set up there as well. I think for Cork as well, look, they want to make this game a dogfight. They want to make this game boring, slow to watch. You know, they want to take the sting out of the game. They don't want to make this entertaining, because if it's entertaining, there's only going to be one winner, and that's the Kingdom. But Cork playing well there. Ian Maguire's been good in possession so far. It looks like a foul on Brian Hurley, and it's going to be a foul as well. So Cork will have the opportunity here to kick their second score of the game. Cork should start well, but I think they'll start to fall behind after 15 minutes. Well, that is what happened last year, wasn't it? I mean, Cork started very well. Brian Hurley got that goal, and I remember watching that game, and you were worried for Kerry a little bit. But once they got going, I mean, I remember Brian O'Buglock had an absolute stormer. I think he got the first goal of the game, and Kerry just, cruised really from there. But yeah, Cork have a second point there. Stephen Sherlock again. Cork have started well, but they need to stick to the game plan, because last year I felt like once the going got tough, they didn't stick to the game plan at all, and it was just kind of free for all football really, and Kerry just absolutely annihilated them. But Cork will take some confidence from these opening 7 minutes. Viobi says, as a Cork fan, I'm worried we are knocked out of all competitions in hurling, minor, under 20 and senior. Cork GAA is in a terrible place. Well, yeah, I mean, look, obviously last year you nearly done the treble, though, didn't you? You nearly won the All-Ireland, or you did win the All-Ireland minor hurling title, the under 20. You won that one as well at hurling, and obviously got to the All-Ireland final. So, sometimes you have great years, sometimes you have bad years. But yeah, without question, this year has been a very disappointing year for Cork fans in all codes, really. There's another foul there from Cork, and Clifford standing over. You would expect them to certainly dispatch this and put this one away and make it a 2-point game. If you could smash the like button, be much appreciated. It helps the stream grow. And if you are new to the channel, if you could subscribe, be much appreciated. Apparently, subscribing helps the channel. That's what I've been told. So, yeah, if you could do that, be great, be brilliant, and yeah, much appreciate the support and anyone tuning in here so far. Great stuff. Great to have you with me watching this game after 8 minutes, 2 points a piece. At least that's good anyway, because I think the worst thing for everyone here, well, for neutrals anyway, would be Kerry just absolutely blow Cork away. So the longer this game stays competitive, the better. And I do expect Kerry to kick into gear at some point in this first half and, really start to dominate. But opening 10 minutes, very level. Kerry winning the Cork kick out there, marching forward now. I think the big question will be, can Cork keep up this intensity in defence as well, and intensity in the turnovers? That's the big issue. But Clifford marching forward there, and that's over the bar. That's a lovely score there from Paddy Clifford. And you've seen how easily there he was able to run, cut inside Cork's fullback line and pop that one over. So that will be a little bit of a concern for Cork, that Clifford was given so much space there to run into. But Kerry winning the kick out again. That's 2 kickouts in a row now. They've won. Brilliant catch. And this maybe now is the period where Kerry are going to really start to kick into gear, dominate proceedings. As we said, they started the game quite slow last year. Stephen O'Brien, brilliant bit of play there, and that's a wonderful score from Stephen O'Brien. Kerry 2 points to the good now in front against the Rebels, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Micheál Martin gets on with his kick out now, because Kerry have won the last 2. Cork going short. Kerry conceding the short kick out. And this is what Cork will try and do, is slow the game down, slow possession down, not try and, make this an end-to-end battle, if that makes sense. So, but yeah. Niall says Kerry don't need any injuries. Well, no team wants any injuries. Obviously, no team needs any injuries. But what Kerry do have is a lot of depth in their squad. Tony Brosnan on the ball there now. Nothing doing from there. Cork get possession back with Micheál Martin again. 2-point game after 11 minutes. You feel like Cork really do need the next score here because once that lead starts becoming 3, 4, 5 points, it becomes that task for the Rebels becomes even more. So they need to try and stick with Kerry for as long as they can, because you've seen 2 years ago as well, only, what was it? There was only a point in it going into the final few minutes, and they ended up winning it with that late marquee goal after Luke Connolly's balloon shot. So, these things can happen, but Cork venturing forward there. Too many steps. You were thinking there, was there a foul on Colin O'Callaghan there? But no, don't think so. I think he's over carried it there. So Kerry get the turnover. And you can see Kerry just marching their players forward. Lovely bit of play here from Clifford, who offloads it into Gavin White. You can see Kerry well up for it, but brilliant turnover there from Cork's defence, and another turnover there, which will give them a lot of confidence. But they're dilly-dallying with the ball, and again, they've lost it in around their half-back line. Big challenge there from Sean Porter. You see Cork, like they've done well there, like they're getting turnovers in around Kerry's full forward line, but just Sean Porter on the ball there just solos the ball a bit too far in front of him. Kerry lose possession. Tony Brosnan goes forward, slots that one comfortably, or Sean O'Shea, I should say, slots that one comfortably over the bar. And Kerry now with a 5-2 point lead. Just looking at the score so far, Clifford with 2 points, Paddy Clifford with a point, Tony Brosnan with a score there as well. Or was it Stephen O'Brien? I thought it was Stephen O'Brien, but maybe I was wrong. But 5 points to 2 for Kerry here at the minute. And even though it is early days, Kerry certainly asserting their dominance. And you can certainly see the difference in class and difference in quality between the two teams. You could see there Sean Porter on the ball, just solos it a bit too far in front of him, leaves himself with too much to do. Heavy enough challenge originally on him there from Sean O'Shea. Fair play to him. He still got the pass away, but it just put the Cork team under a little bit of pressure there. But yeah, 5 points to 2 so far here for the Kingdom at Parky Rin. I was going to say Parky Queeve there. Noel says, I hope Cork don't do a Tyrone on the game. Every man behind the ball. Well, that's what it's looking like they're doing, because they went toe to toe with Kerry last year and got absolutely annihilated. And if they were to do the same thing again, they would be annihilated. They'd be picked apart, and they'd be beaten quite comfortably. That's the reality of it. So being defensive isn't so much the problem, but they need to it's one of them things you need to get it right, and you need to stick in the game as well. If they go 6, 7, 8 points behind, that defensive system then clearly isn't working, and maybe you need to make some tactical tweaks, or start pushing up on kickouts, or just do something a little bit different. But Stephen Sherlock on a big kick this, and he's nailed it. So Cork staying in the game at the minute, and that is the most important thing. That's 3 points now from Stephen Sherlock, all from frees. Cork yet to score from play, but a little bit of indiscipline at times from Kerry's defence, just to allow Cork those frees. And they're allowing Cork to live with Kerry at the minute and stick in the game. But at the same time, Cork haven't really offered too much here going forward in these opening 15 minutes. Kerry ripping through Cork here at the minute. Lovely inside ball there into Stephen O'Brien now venturing forward. That looks like a free for Kerry, and it is. Sean Porter with the challenge. Great play there from Kerry, though. Great inside ball. Played into David Clifford, who offloaded it into Stephen O'Brien. He gets brought down, and this will surely be a score here for Mr. Sean O'Shea, who's standing over this one. So yeah, 6 points to 3-point game for Kerry here at the minute. A lot of frees so far, you would have to say so. The referee has been very whistle happy here so far. All of Cork's points have been frees, and I think Kerry with just 2 points from play, I think, in this game. So a lot of frees happening in this one so far. Kerry have done well from the kick out, but Cork have won that one. Can they get themselves a point from play or win another free? That one's going to drop short. They're the chances that Cork really do need to take if they want to stand a chance. Make sure you smash the like button for anyone who's watching. If you could subscribe if you're new as well, to be a match reaction after the game. Podcast out on Monday as well. So all the rest to review all the action, discuss all the action, as well as some of the under-20 football action as well, because big win for Kildare earlier today against Sligo. Sligo put up a battle in the second half, certainly to try and drag the game back, but Kildare a bit too strong for Sligo, and on to the under-20 final against either Tyrone or Kerry, which we will see tomorrow. Stephen O'Brien does well. Cork just struggling to get tight enough, and O'Brien drops short. Oh, and Micheál Martin drops it, and that will be a 45, I think. Or has he called it back for another free? Perhaps he has. I think he has called it back for another free there. So, yeah, a lot of fouls so far in this game. Some of them have been a little soft, but some of them have been justified at the same time. So, you would expect Sean O'Shea to certainly slot this one over the bar, and all of a sudden then it's a 4-point game, and you can see even after 19 minutes that the tie is just getting away from the Rebels a little bit here early on. Kerry haven't been amazing, but at the same time they've done just about enough here. They're winning a lot of fouls. They're being very direct into Clifford. Some quick hand passing around Cork's full-back line, and you can see Cork had the second or third defence statistically across all 4 divisions in the National Football League, and you can see Kerry causing a lot of problems, and it probably is only a matter of moments really before they get their first goal of this game. 4 points in the game. Cork really just need the next score here just to stick with Kerry, so that the deficit or the score doesn't get too big, because if Cork find themselves 6, 7, 8 points behind in the first half, it's curtains really, and it's game over. But Cork have won possession, they've won possession from their own kickouts. They've gone short. They've created 1 or 2 opportunities, but I'm not too sure if Kerry have kicked a wide so far, and that is just the difference in quality, really. Daniel Deneen calls the mark there. Is he going to take the score? Is he going to play a short? I'd imagine he's going to go short. He goes backwards. And Cork venturing forward. You can see when they're on the ball, just the sort of, you see Kerry move the ball quickly, decisively. They're playing the ball into the open spaces, working that ball inside, whereas Cork just not the same quality just isn't there. And that's a brilliant turnover from Kerry. Great bit of work there. Jeremy O'Connor gets fouled, but fantastic turnover from Kerry in and around Cork's half-back line there. And that will certainly make Paddy Talley a very happy man when he sees Kerry dispossessing the opposition in their own attack. And yeah, 4-point game here. Kerry in possession. It's certainly in danger of this one being over, and Niall says it's going to be a long evening for Cork. And yeah, it does look like at this moment in time anyway, you'd have to say that Kerry are comfortable, 4 points up, but nothing that we didn't expect. I think a lot of us expected Kerry to win this one quite comfortably, and you can see Cork playing with a sweeper in there as well, to try and, I suppose, limit Kerry's attack. Gavin White loses the ball there, so Cork can break, and this is really now where Cork need to be at their best. Brian Hurley venturing forward. Is that a foul? Looks like it is. I thought that was a bit soft there, to be fair now. The ref has been quick to call a lot of fouls. I mean, we've only had, we've had a lot of scores in this game, but a lot of them have been from fouls. And Stephen Sherlock, who's nailed 3 out of 3 so far, you would expect him to nail this one, even though it is a difficult kick. So Sherlock standing over it, big kick this for Cork, and he puts it over the bar. So 4 points to 7 there at the minute. Micheál Martin goes down. This could be an injury for the Cork goalkeeper. I'd be curious for people who are watching what your thoughts on the game so far for either Cork Kerry fans or neutrals, a bit like myself. Look, so far, at least after 20 minutes, Kerry aren't 7, 8, 9 points in front. It is a 3-point game. I'm not too sure if you'd say Cork. I don't think Cork will be the happier of the two teams, but at least they're in it at the minute. But at the same time, the way Kerry are playing, the way they're cutting through Cork, you can only see one winner here at the minute. And you feel like once that gap gets to 5, 6, possibly 7, will Cork still have that same energy, the same fitness levels? And conditioning wise as well, there's a big difference between both teams. And Kerry obviously have by far better, sort of squad depth. I mean, just looking at their bench there, you've Paul Gainey on the bench, Paul Murphy on the bench, David Moran's in there, Killian Spillane, Stefan O'Cumber, Micheál Burns. A lot of options on that Kerry bench. Jack Savage is in there as well. So Kerry have a lot of options in their bench if needs be. But at the moment, anyway, fairly comfortable. 3 points to the good. Kerry now deciding to slow possession down. They're certainly in no rush. They're the team with a 3-point lead there at the minute. Cork being physical in the tackle, but Sean O'Shea is able to shrug off 3 players. Again, kicking directly inside there. Kerry offloading the ball quickly. Clifford, is he getting in behind? He isn't. That's a brilliant catch there. Wonderful catch. And Sean Porter certainly been through the wars here at the minute for this Kerry team. But he's been very good here so far. GAA lad says, I'm a Kerry fan and they seem to be taking it easy and slow. But I think when Kerry get a goal, they'll really start to go ahead. Well, yeah, look, they're comfortable so far. And, as they say, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And, for Kerry, I think the most important thing is obviously getting the victory. We know the quality, we know the talent that they have, but you're seeing they are being very decisive when they're kicking inside. They're kicking some good balls in there. But to be fair to Cork, they've forced a couple of turnovers and they're playing with good intensity here at the minute. The question is, can they keep that up? That's brilliant from Stephen Sherlock. Oh, that is an audacious point. That is wonderful. That is next level stuff. He's kicked all of Cork's points so far. He kicks Cork's first point from play as well. Look at this little dummy. Sells the Cork or the Kerry defender to the absolute cleaners there. Graham O'Sullivan sent on his bike, and Brian Hurley, Stephen Sherlock with a wonderful score. And Cork in the kick out, 2-point game after 25 minutes. Cork will be happy here. And if they can get the next score, all of a sudden 1-point game. They're marching forward here. The problem for Cork is they don't have too many shooters, but that looks like it's over there from Cathal O'Mahony. Fist pump goes along with it. 6 points to 7, and Cork all of a sudden just have hit a bit of a purple patch there. 2 quick scores. Kerry going short from the kick out. I mean, you can see Cork obviously dropping back quite a lot from the kickouts and, being in a very defensive shell. So they're conceding that short kick out, which allows Kerry to build. But a poor pass there from Paudie Clifford, and Cork dispossess it and march forward here. Can Cork get the next score? Brian Hurley on the ball. Good ball there into Cathal O'Mahony, but he's got 2 Kerry defenders around him. Does he win the free? It looks like he does, I think. Tig Morley watching on in disbelief as the foul, or Jason Foley, I should say, as the foul is given away. And this now represents a big chance for Stephen Sherlock to put the sides level after 27 minutes. And to be fair to Cork, they have been very defensive, but you can understand that, at the end of the day, there's different ways of winning. Stalls make fights. And if Cork win this game, they won't care in any way whatsoever of how they've done it. But they've broke with pace, they've broke fast, and standing over it is Stephen Sherlock, who nails the points. 6 points now from him in the game. Cork are level. The Cork fans delighted there at the minute, and for all of Kerry's good work, for Kerry's decisiveness, and sort of, you could say, those balls inside and good play in their attack, both sides are level, and I'm sure Jack O'Connor and Paddy Tally watching on will be a little bit disappointed with some of the fouls they've given away because they've allowed Cork to stay in it. But here goes a run here, and that looks over the bar from, and it sure is, it's a lovely score there from Jack Barry, or from Jeremy O'Connor. So Kerry back in front, and that probably is the difference between both teams as well, is that Kerry have a number of scores, a number of shooters. You've obviously got David Clifford, who has been very quiet, you'd have to say, in this game so far. 2 points, both of which have been from frees. Of course, if you remember last year, he didn't kick a point from play. He was kept scoreless. I can't remember who marked him last year, but so far, no points from play for David Clifford after 28 minutes. But the difference is you've got Tony Brosnan, you've got Paudie Clifford, Sean O'Shea, Stephen O'Brien, Jeremy O'Connor from midfield who's scoring. So you have a lot of options, whereas Cork probably are very reliant on Stephen Sherlock, who's kicked 6 of Cork's 7 scores here so far. Marty says that's a surprise scoreline. It is so far, but look, still a long way to go, and you would still expect Kerry to pull away. And they like they've been good in front of goal. That one goes wide. I think that's their first wide of the evening. Tony Brosnan there. But they Kerry haven't been poor in front of goal. They've moved the ball fast. They've moved the ball quickly. They just haven't. They've just lost possession a little times, and I think Cork have played well. To be fair to them, and they'll take some confidence from that. Cork have switched up their goalkeeper here as well. Micheál Martin has obviously gone off, and Dylan Foley is the man who has come on there. So be interesting to see how he gets on. You can see Kerry obviously pressing up on Cork's kickouts. Cork have, I think, won only 2 of their own kickouts so far, and this is a big one. Can they win this one? They don't. Kerry on possession again, and that's sort of that will be an issue for Cork if they keep getting turned over from their own kickouts as they march forward here. And a lovely kicked point there from Tony Brosnan makes up for his miss just a moment ago. And Kerry, just like that, in the blink of an eye, have put up a 2-point lead. But look, Cork, to be fair to them, as I said, I don't think Kerry have been dreadful or terrible so far or anything like that. You look at it being a 2-point game and you think, maybe Kerry haven't played amazing. Like, they haven't been at their best, but they've looked quite good in front of goal. Just one wide kick so far. They've moved the ball quickly in around their forward line. They've struggled to get it into their forwards at times, but Cork have played well, it must be said. And the issue is for Kerry is that anytime Cork have gone forward, they've either kicked a point or they've gotten a free from it. And that has been the issue. And that's why they've got 7 points on the board. And when they have won kickouts, they've just ran directly at this Kerry defence. And you're seeing Stephen Sherlock doing it there, but he gets dispossessed by Diarmuid O'Connor. Kerry happy to slow the game down and keep possession on the ball as they march forward here. Are they going to open up a 3-point lead in the game again? Stephen says Kerry to move up a gear and pull away. Looks like a penalty there, is it? Nothing there, as you can see. Kevin Flahiv, very animatedly, you could say, wishing away the challenge. It was Tony Brosnan, I think, who looked like he was brought down. Be interesting to see that one again. GA Lad says that was definitely a foul. Be interesting to get another replay of that. I didn't see it clearly. You know, it looked like there may have been a pull, but he may have gone down a bit softly. So yeah. So here come Cork again on the attack. The issue is they need to get the ball into the likes of Stephen Sherlock, Cathal O'Mahony. They're Cork's really only shooters from distance, but Cork will take a lot of positive so far from this opening half, it must be said. Sharon says Cork are playing like 2020, and GA Lad says, and Kerry are playing like 2020. Well, Kerry have played like a lot of their games like this year. You know, they've been quick on the attack, they've been quick on the break, but they've set up very well defensively. And you know, a lot of the best teams do that. You know, Dublin in 2020, 2019, they would drop back when they didn't have the ball. But obviously the difference from Kerry in this game in 2020 is when they get the ball, they're moving it quickly, they're moving it fast. Whereas in 2020, they were just messing around with the ball and not moving it quickly enough to give Cork a chance. But you know, the question will be, can Cork keep up this intensity in the second half and keep up this this way of playing? That will be the big question. That will be the big question. And you know, if it is a 3-4 point game after 50, 60 minutes, do Cork start to throw the kitchen sink at it and try and open Kerry up a bit more? But in doing so, leave more spaces in behind? Or, you know, are they after the moral victory? But brilliant again there from Sean Potter, who's been excellent in this game. He's brought down again. But that's another turnover from Cork in and around Kerry's full back line there. And I have to say, David Clifford has been very quiet so far in this game. Sean Potter has been, he'll certainly wake up with a few cuts and bruises, make no mistake about that. But I'd imagine Cork fans very happy to see him in the team, and he has played quite well so far. And to be fair, Maurice Shanley, who is picking up David Clifford by the looks of things there, you know, he got a yellow early on for that foul. But to be fair to him, he's done a good job on Mr. Clifford here so far. So yeah, approaching injury time here. Can Cork bring it back to a one-score game before half-time? 4 minutes of injury time. Certainly a lot of injury time there. I don't remember 4 points there. Lovely bit of play there from Brian Hurley. Lovely solo. Is he going to take the score? Puts it wide, and that's, you know, those need to go over, don't they? That's the difference, isn't it? Kerry very clinical in front of goal. very clinical in front of goal. Kerry have been, and a miss there from Brian Hurley would have brought it to a 1-score game. Was he fouled there afterwards? He certainly was. He certainly was, and that should have been a free there for Cork, shouldn't it have been? From Tyg Morley. I mean, like to see another replay of that. Maybe he just fell into him. I don't know, but looked like a collision after the ball. It would certainly be interesting to see another replay on that potential penalty. Maybe the fact they're not showing a replay shows it wouldn't have been at Stephen O'Brien there with a looked like a bit of an elbow on Kevin O'Donovan there, but we'll if we can get a replay of this, come on, Sky, let's see these big replays, man. You're investing a lot of money here, so let's at least show us a replay, for God's sake. Sharon says, what do you think about Kerry defence this year? Well, they've been very well organised, obviously, under Paddy Talley this year, and they conceded 2 goals, I think, in the league. Done a great job keeping Mayo out. So they've done very well. They've done very well defensively so far this year, must be said. They've certainly made a lot of improvements. But there certainly has been a little bit of indiscipline at times in this game. And they have been, when Cork have ran at Kerry, they certainly have opened them up at times. Sean O'Shea with the free in there, but it goes wide. And yeah, stays as a 2-point game. GA lads says Sky aren't showing anything. It should be played on RT or TG Cahar. It certainly should be. It definitely should be. There's no doubt about that. But unfortunately, it is on Sky, so we kind of just have to deal with it. And that's probably why, for people who are watching this, I'm watching this on Now TV, so the stream is probably a minute or two behind the real time. So, but yeah, Kerry on the ball. I don't know what's going on outside there. I think a bird's after flying into the window. I have no idea what's going on there, but we'll carry on here for now. Cork 2 points down. Can they get a score before halftime? They seem very content on keeping possession anyway here for the minute. Look, and I think they'll be happy. Look, it's only a 2-point game. It hasn't been what we expected in terms of Kerry, going 15 to 20 points clear or something like that, winning it by 10 plus. And look, in the second half, you would expect Kerry to pull away the more the game goes on. But they certainly will take some confidence from that first half. And it is halftime, 9 points to 7 for Kerry at halftime. And look, Cork will take confidence. Kerry have been, a lot more clinical in front of goal. Make no mistake about that. They've taken their opportunities when they have came. I think they've kicked just one wide, I think, in that first half, from what I've seen. Cork, on the other hand side, haven't created a whole lot of chances. 5 of their points have been from frees, a point from play from Brian Hurley, a point from play from Stephen Sherlock as well. So Cork will take some positives. Obviously, that chance right before half time from Brian Hurley that or Cathal O'Mahony, who actually kicked the other point from play, I should say. But yeah, Kerry 2 points to the good. It hasn't been vintage from Kerry. They've certainly lost possession at times. They've lost the ball in and around Cork's full back line. They've been dispossessed on times. There's been some brilliant turnovers from Sean Porter, who's had a very good game for Cork so far. Kevin Flahiv as well. Maurice Shanley's done well. David Clifford, who kicked the opening 2 points of the game from frees and started quite well. One of which from play, actually, I should say. But other than that, he has been very quiet so far. And Kerry or Cork have certainly limited his influence on the ball. The big issue, though, watching in the first half, though, is you can see, obviously, Cork playing quite a defensive shell. a lot of their, pretty much they have every man inside their own 45 line. They're conceding the short kick out, which allows Kerry to build, allows Kerry to keep possession. Obviously, Kerry playing a lot higher up the pitch. They're pushing up on Cork's kick out, and you've seen Cork lose possession from their own kick outs. Probably the majority of the time. I think they've only won one or two of their own kickouts, and that has been the issue. But Cork will certainly take positives from this. Sharon says, what do you think about Dublin against Meath next week? Will it be close? Look, I think, Meath have certainly had some very disappointing performances against Dublin in the last decade. Make no mistake about that. The last 5 years in particular. I mean, there's been two very dominant victories back-to-back, 2019, 2020. And even last year, Dublin were, home and hosed, really. They were 10, 11 points clear, and Meath brought it back to a 3-point game. So Meath will take a bit of confidence, but the thing is with Meath is when they have played Dublin, a lot of the time they've gone toe-to-toe with Dublin, which you have to admire them for at the same time. But they've gone at Dublin. They've tried to make things happen, but their shooting's been off. They've played poorly. They have, there seems to be a confidence issue within the camp as well, because they'd start well for the opening 10 minutes, and then as soon as Dublin built up a 7, 8, 9-point lead, their heads would go and Dublin would just completely annihilate them. But if Meath were to maybe take a bit of inspiration from what they've seen from Cork here, push a lot of men behind the ball. I know it isn't exactly the Andy McEntee or the Meath way of playing, but if you can do that, get a lot of men behind the ball, and try and break on the counter-attack, I think they'd have a chance, because Dublin haven't been clinically brilliant this year, and there has been a couple of confidence issues. So if Dublin go 4 or 5 points down, like they were against Kildare, Meath maybe will take some confidence from that. James Walsh says, great job, man. Final score prediction. Appreciate the comment very much there. Very, very appreciated. Final score prediction. I'm going to say Kerry 120, Cork 12 points. I know that's probably against the grain, but I think Kerry are going to kick more into gear in the second half. They're going to improve quite a lot. And I just don't see Cork keeping up this same intensity, unfortunately. So, I can see Kerry pulling away as the more the game goes on. Make no mistake about that. GA Lads says you should definitely do a live watch along for the Meath versus Dublin game. I could really see Meath beat them. Yeah, we probably will. Depends. I need to check when that game is on, actually. But yeah, certainly, most likely anyway, we will do a watch along. Although I might be going to the game at the same time, so we'll see. We'll see. Dylan says Westmeath could possibly beat Dublin. Wouldn't agree with you there, Dylan. I don't think Westmeath would beat Dublin. But look, Westmeath, to be fair to them, they would play a defensive style. They would get a lot of men behind the ball, but they have been very inconsistent themselves this year. And as poorly as we've been, I do think we'd open them up. I do think we'd open them up. And I do think we'll open Meath up as well and beat them quite comfortably. But we'll see. We'll see. For Westmeath, anyway, they need to get past Kildare first. And look, Kildare, if there is a team that's going to beat Dublin in Leinster this year, probably is Kildare. But we'll see. Brighton beating Man United. That's kind of funny, isn't it? 3-0. Jesus. Yeah, you wouldn't like to be a Man United supporter at the minute, I'll tell you that. But look, you'd certainly like to be a Kerry supporter anyway, because things have been going very well for them so far this year. But just a 2-point game, so Cork will take confidence from it. But can they keep up that same energy in the second half? If they can, and if they can keep it close, if they can keep it to 2-3 points going into the final couple of minutes, maybe there might be a bit of nerves there for Kerry if Cork start to push up for the final couple of minutes. Obviously, there's no Mark Keane around. He's playing for the Hurlers. But if they can find someone like him who can come on and maybe grab a last-minute goal, it would be a sensational shock, wouldn't it? if Cork. I mean, it'd be big. It would certainly be a bigger shock than 2020 because obviously the conditions that day played a big part. Conditions were awful. It was an empty stadium as well. But Cork will. Who knows? Who knows? Dylan says maybe a repeat of 2020 last minute goal. Maybe. Seeing obviously some of the replays there at the minute from Stephen Sherlock, who's been superb so far. I don't think he's kicked a wide. He has been fantastic from Cork. And look, if Cork can live with Kerry, and even if they lose by 4 or 5 points, it's look for the Cork fans, for Cork players, and for Cork in general, for Cork GAA, it shouldn't be a moral victory. I've said this about Meath as well. Given the history of Meath, obviously they were quite happy with how they performed in the second half last year, and they lost by 6 points in the end. It felt like a bit of a moral victory considering some of the awful hammerings that Meath have had. And Cork should certainly set a higher standard, I think, than moral victories. But if they were to lose by 5 or 6, it would give them confidence going into the qualifiers. It's obviously going to be very tough. You're looking at the teams that are in there, Tyrone, Mayo, Armagh. Be tough for them. But if they could get a nice draw, maybe a Louth, who would probably be on paper maybe the best team you could get, even though Louth themselves have had a very good year up until that Kildare game. So you would expect Kildare, or you would expect, that would be an interesting one. It would be an interesting one. You'd have one of the smallest counties in Ireland against one of the biggest. But yeah, Cork wouldn't be overwhelming favourites. Owen says, what channel? It is on Sky Sports. So Sky Sports Arena, I think it is. So yeah, Kerry 2 points up at half time. Getting ready here for the second half. It will be an interesting second half. Maybe Kerry, look, if the fact there's been tests here, they've obviously seen a couple of defensive issues, a couple of defensive vulnerabilities. It will give them something to work on, which will be a positive, because we've seen with Kerry, in the past, and even Dublin have had this problem sometimes as well, where they cruise through their province and then they get into a semi-finals and suddenly they're under the cosh. They're struggling a bit and struggling to find a bit of rhythm, and usually that can happen from having not been tested in your province. So maybe that is a positive that Kerry can take away. But yeah, Kerry 2 points to the good over Cork here at the minute. If you could smash the like button for those who are watching this stream, subscribe if you're new to the channel, it would be much appreciated. And there will be a match reaction after the game as well. And there will be some videos out tomorrow as well for Donegal Cavan, and you've also got Limerick Tipperary in the hurling. So two big games there. So plenty of videos, content coming on the channel over the next couple of days, all for free as well. Unlike Sky here, who are trying to charge us all a bomb for watching this game. I won't do that. So yeah, we'll keep it all free. But yeah, Kerry 2 points up. Just waiting for the second half here now, to be honest. I don't really think there's much else to add on the first half. Be curious to, obviously, some of you lads commenting there. I can see that. So it'd be interesting to see some more opinions on the first half. Just running through, I suppose, what has happened in the game. So Stephen Sherlock, obviously, with the first point from Cork from a free. David Clifford responded with a lovely score. Stephen Sherlock then got on the score sheet. Kerry hit 4 without reply from the 8th minute up until the 15th, with David Clifford scoring again from a free. But that's actually been his last score in the game, and actually his last involvement, really. He hasn't really been involved too much after that. Paddy Clifford, Tony Brosnan, or Stephen O'Brien, I should say, Sean O'Shea, all getting on the score sheet. Cork did hit a bit of a purple patch themselves, though. 3 points in quick succession from the 25th minute. Sherlock, O'Mahony, and then Sherlock again from a free to bring it back. But Kerry with the final 2 points of the half from Jeremy O'Connor and Tony Brosnan, so they lead by 2 at half time. David Clifford picking up a yellow in that first half as well. So yeah. we'll see. We'll see what happens. Cork, done a good job on David Clifford last year, even though Kerry won by 16. I can't even remember how much they won by, but they won by quite a margin anyway. And look, David Clifford didn't need to turn up for that game. He could have stayed at home and put his feet up on the couch. He didn't need to turn up for it. But yeah, Williams says such a joke that Sky were able to buy the rights to so many GAA fixtures. Yeah, look, for myself, I don't have too much of an issue with Sky actually buying the rights and showing the games, because they've, I don't think their coverage is as bad as RTE or, TG Carr, I think, do a great job, to be fair. But their coverage isn't as bad as RTE, definitely, no doubt about it. But the problem I'd have with Sky is they don't show enough games, and they just show the games and that's it, they don't really do much else. I remember I think last year they were uploading a few things to YouTube and a few different things here and there, but they just don't do enough. They don't do enough to promote the game, in my opinion. They could do a lot more. They definitely could. And I think all broadcasters could. I mean, they should show the highlights on YouTube and up on the GAA website. I mean, almost every other sport does that. I mean, there's much more money involved in Premier League soccer, for example. But if you go on YouTube, you go on the Sky Sports website, you want to see highlights of a game, you click into it, it's there straight away. They upload it 5-10 minutes after the game, whereas with GAA, if you want to see highlights, you need to wait until Sunday evening. And that's just not good enough, in my opinion. And James says it's a big joke as well. It certainly is. But it is what it is. I don't know how long their contract is as well, but it'd be nice to see another broadcaster show games, but we'll wait and see. So yeah, second half about to start. Kerry with out of the 13 scoring chances, 9 out of 13 there, just looking at the stats, 7 out of 9 for Cork. Cork have dropped a few chances short there as well. 14 kickouts, 1-7 there from Kerry, and that shows that's the big difference. That's the big statistic right there. But in terms of turnovers, like Kerry with the extra turnover, 2 more enforced errors though as well. So Kerry, they have made 1 or 2 errors and mistakes in the game, which certainly Jack O'Connor will be looking to alleviate in this second half, as both players coming out onto the pitch. I think Cork, they need to start strong in the second half, just to lay down a marker to show that they're going to stick with this Kerry team and try and make this as good as a contest as possible. You would have to say so far that they've done exactly that. They've lived with Kerry. They've had great intensity, in their own defense. They've 7 turnovers in the game. They've done very, very well so far, this Cork side. And I think if you're a Cork fan, you'd be quite happy, quite proud of that first half, to be honest, after how poor of a league campaign they had, and considering the defensive issues that they had as well. So yeah, second half up and running. Magsy says, thanks for doing this live stream. I can't get near a TV right now. No problem at all, Magsy there. Absolutely no problem. Do plenty of live streams on the channel as well. So if you could subscribe, that would be great. We'll hopefully do one for Dublin Mead next weekend. James says, did the bird that hit your window survive? I've no idea, because I have the curtains pulled, because it's better for lighting and all the rest. You probably wouldn't be able to see me otherwise, but I've no idea. But there certainly did sound like a bit of a commotion outside the window. A few birds there giving out. Wouldn't be the first time. But yeah, Kerry, 2 points to the good. Back to the football anyways. 2 points to the good here. In possession with Gavin White. Again, just a little bit laboured on the ball there, but again, another foul, and the referee has been very quick to call a lot of fouls here in this game. That one looked a little soft in my opinion. I think he could have let that one go. And it is Sean O'Shea standing over it. You would expect them to score this one. And the positive is from Kerry, although they have, had a couple of unforced errors. As I said, I don't think they've been, poor in the game. I just think Cork have played very well and have played with a lot of energy and around their full back line and have been very good defensively. But the positive for Kerry is they haven't missed too many opportunities. They haven't missed frees or, they haven't let sort of Cork's way of playing get to them. They've stuck to the game plan, and Sean O'Shea puts that one over, 10 points to 7. And I think for Kerry in the second half, it will be about managing the game as well, slowing the game down, slowing intent, trying to keep Cork at arm's length. But yeah, we've got Dylan Foley here on the kick out. You can see Kerry pressing up on the kick out again. Obviously, Kerry winning the majority of the kickouts in the first half, and they win this one again. And that is the problem for Cork, is that they don't have, too many options from the kickouts. They can't seem to find a runner from a short kick out, and they're just giving the ball back to Kerry. And you see Kerry here now running through. Sean O'Shea on the ball, but did Cork get the turnover there? Looked like they won the ball, 50-50 ball, 2 players on it. Maurice Shanley and Jason Foley there. Maurice Shanley or Jason Foley very, very high up the pitch there. I'd imagine the referee will just throw this one in here, and he does, and Cork win it. So can they do anything? Sean Porter has been excellent so far for Cork so far, you'd have to say. He's been an absolute terrier there in that Cork defence. He's been excellent. Stephen Sherlock racing away with it. Kerry, they have stood off Cork at times, and you can see that here a little bit here. Sherlock goes for it. It's going to go wide, is it? It is, yeah. Probably not the best decision there from Stephen Sherlock, his first wide of the game. Although I'm not too sure it will count as a wide, because I think one of the other Cork players ended up carrying it wide, but it's a wide nonetheless, isn't it? But yeah, Timmy says, how are you watching the game? On Sky Sports GAA. So yeah, that's how I'm watching the game. But yeah, good turnover there from Ian Maguire. Another turnover from a Cork point of view. You are seeing at times, though, Jason Foley and Tyg Morley they are getting very far forward. So there is a risk there at times with that turnover if Cork can move the ball quickly. The problem with Cork, though, I've seen so far, is in their half back line with Rory Maguire, John Cooper. They don't have lots of pace. They don't have quick runners on the ball. So they're trying to run it up the field, but they don't have a lot of pace really in their team. But they're in possession of the ball. They need to get a score here. 5 minutes in, no score so far in the second half. If they can get the next score, psychologically that will be a big boost from this Cork side. Calm in possession there at the minute. Kerry very well set up. They are a bit standoffish, though. There is a bit of an opportunity here for Kerry. Lovely bit of work there from Cathal O'Mahony. And that's gone over the bar. That's a lovely point. That's Cork's first point of the second half, and a second point from play as well from Cathal O'Mahony. Both points from play. That Cork full forward line, that is their main threat, isn't it? Make no mistake about that, with Stephen Sherlock, Brian Hurley, and Cathal O'Mahony in there as well. The problem for Cork is they just don't have, Ian Maguire is a good shooter on the ball. But he obviously has been playing a bit more of a defensive role in this game, and he hasn't been getting too far forward, given the fact that Kerry could break with pace and just play through the middle. So he hasn't been getting as far forward as previous games. But, Cork don't have too many natural shooters in their team, especially when you don't have, Luke Connolly, who's obviously opted out, and Paul Kerrigan retired and all the rest. So, yeah. But another turnover there, and Ian Maguire on the attack again. 41 minutes on the board, and it's a 2-point game, and not many people expected that. And here goes Brian Hurley on the attack. Can Cork work something here? They nearly worked a goal chance, but the ball was just a bit overhit there from Brian Hurley. It was Colm O'Callaghan who was trying to break into the midfield there, but yeah, and a long ball there from Kerry, bit of an aimless ball, and Sean Porter is able to pick it up. Kerry giving the ball away again, 2 points in it. And the thing is with Kerry, we have seen them on multiple occasions when it has been a very tight game and a very close game. We have seen them crack. We have seen them fall apart. Not always, not all the time. And certainly this year in the league, they've been almost perfect. Obviously lost to Tyrone, but other than that, the draw with Kildare in the opening game. But other than that, it's been almost perfect. So, but they are, they're very defensive here at the minute. They're allowing Cork to kick the ball around in their own 45 line. They're happy to allow Cork with possession. So, yeah, Cork have had the ball for about 3-4 minutes now. If they can get a score out of this, it will be big because, they when they have possession, they really do need to. They need to make it count because we've seen Kerry do excellent from their own kickouts and Cork kickouts as well. So, but yeah, Cam in possession. Certainly interesting to see Kerry be sort of as defensive as they are here. I would, I understand sitting back and allowing or sort of trying to suffocate that space and sort of be resolute at the back, but they are allowing Cork a lot of time on the ball, but they have been turned over there. So that on that occasion, it certainly works. It certainly works. Young lad, says Hon Cork. Certainly the Cork fans feeling that they have an opportunity here, but Kerry on possession, and you can see the difference when both sides attack. And another foul again. The ref has been calling a lot of fouls in this one, and this time it was John Cooper who brings, just had a little tug of the shirt on Jeremy O'Connor. So yeah, it's a fair foul. It's a fair foul, but sometimes referees let it go. Sometimes they call the advantage, but the ref has been very quick to call a lot of fouls. There's been a lot of fouls in this game. There's certainly been more points from placed balls and fouls than there has been from play anyway. No mistake about that. And Sean O'Shea standing over it again, makes no mistake. Kerry, they have so many free takers in their team. They've got David Clifford, Sean O'Shea, Paddy Clifford can stand over them. Tony Brosnan's a free taker as well, but Sean O'Shea's been the man on the frees here so far in this game. 3-point game, Cork with the kick out again. So we'll see how they get on. And again, kick out won by Kerry. Cork dispossessive from Ian Maguire. Referee judges it to be a foul, brings it forward because of the scent there as well, I think. So this will be another chance, I presume, for Kerry. Sean O'Shea works it inside this time to Mr. Clifford, who we haven't seen too much of. Puts it wide. It was Tony Brosnan, actually, as a matter of fact. What you would say about Cork is they are, once again, just like last year, keeping David Clifford very quiet because he hasn't had the ball too much at all. And he hasn't really been allowed to do much. It won't matter if Kerry win the game, but it's been, maybe some teams need to start looking at what Cork are doing because, the third year in a row, really, where David Clifford hasn't had And it's not, he hasn't really had a bad game, but he just hasn't really been in the game. Stephen O'Brien with a foul there on Sean Porter. Didn't really look like too much in that now, to be perfectly honest. It looked like Sean Porter was kind of making the most of it, but Cork are in possession of the ball. Lovely little dummy there. Bit of space here for Cork to work with. Can they take the point? They do, I think. Yeah, they do. They do. Lovely, lovely score there from the fullback. And it was a lovely little dummy as well. And that was one of the first times really where you've seen Cork really open up Kerry. And, you know, I feel like if that had been later in the game, or if Cork needed a goal, like they could have worked the goal chance there, but probably taking the point is the right option. Brings it back to 2. Right decision in the end. Kevin O'Donovan with the point, the cornerback. Lovely point there. And that will give Cork some confidence again as Kerry move forward with Tony Brosnan. But again, Kerry they haven't quite been able to get their, their star men involved in this one. Paddy Clifford's been quite quiet as well at times, but I suppose he's been more in around the half forward line, so you wouldn't be expecting him to get the scores. Shane says, thanks so much for the video. Watching it here with my wife Leah and little boy Ezra. Thanks very much, Shane. Much appreciated. Appreciate the comment there. Hope you're all keeping well, enjoying the football. And look, at least this has been a competitive game, because I really did think coming into this that Kerry, like most people, would win this by, at a canter by 10 plus. But we're going into the final quarter here, going into the final 20 minutes, and it's a 2-point game. So Cork will take it. And, if it's only a 2-3-point game going into the final few minutes, we've seen before, we've seen it in 2020, all it takes is, one long ball, one mistake, one moment of madness, one moment of brilliance, and the game can turn. So Cork will take a lot of confidence from that, and they're marching forward here again. And Cochlo Mahoney there on the ball with a lovely score, puts it over the bar. It's a 1-point game. 1-point game. So Cork are they're putting it up to the kingdom here. They are certainly putting it up to the kingdom. 1-point game. No one would have pictured that, imagined that after 50 minutes. And that is the scenario we have here as David Moran comes on for Adrian Spillane. Kerry with 3 midfielders now on the pitch. So be interested to see where David Moran plays. But Kerry moving forward again here. Can they work something of it? Ball gets overplayed. Stephen O'Brien does well there to win the 45. Little bit of luck there. Looked like the ball was overplayed from Paul Gainey. But Stephen O'Brien wins the 45 there. So you would expect Kerry, who have been clinical, I don't think they've missed a free at all in this game. You would expect them to put this over the bar. Paul Gainey obviously came on, has come on in this game. He's just on. David Moran's come on there as well. Tony Brosnan goes off, so I'll be relying on the veteran that is Paul Gainey, one of the probably the most underrated and underappreciated footballers really in the country, in my opinion. And he's had a good year so far, it must be said. And a lovely score there by Mr. Sean O'Shea. Few people saying they don't have sound there. Sound should be working. I think we are all good there. So yeah, Kerry 2 points to the good. So yeah, 2 points. Sharon saying there, Cork comeback. They certainly have been, they've pushed the game back, but Kerry have obviously gone on and kicked another point from Sean O'Shea in possession here now as well. Can they make it a 3-point game? Let's see. Sounds good here. Yeah, I don't know. I think someone was just having a jumping on a train there. But yeah, Kerry 2 points to the good here. Moving into the 20 minutes. Is that another foul? Looks like it is there on Paddy Clifford, and this will surely be another free in from Sean O'Shea. I mean, Kerry, like, just looking at it there, I think nearly 9 or 10 of their points have all been from place balls or free, either 45s or frees. And it's another one again for Sean O'Shea. If Cork just had a little bit more discipline about them here, like, I really do think they could have done something in this one, or maybe they will still do something, obviously, going into the final couple of minutes. Days off here says, what was that prediction? I'm not too sure what he means there, but in regards to my prediction, yeah, well, like a lot of people, I expected Kerry to win the game quite comfortably, but that hasn't happened in this game, and you have to give credit to Cork because they've played very, very well indeed. They've turned the ball over on numerous times. They've been clinical enough in front of goal. They've picked and choose their moments going forward, and Kerry probably haven't put their foot on the gas. They've allowed Cork, like even now, for example, Cork in possession here. They're allowing Cork to have the ball. They're not trying to dispossess them, and they're allowing Cork time to work a score. So, it's actually been a very, it's almost been a very Tyrone-like performance actually from Kerry. Like, you'd usually see them put performances in like this in Ulster. It has been a very Ulster-like performance, you'd have to say, from Kerry. But look, we know the quality that Kerry have. We know the players that they have, and they, as long as they come through this and win this, they know they have obviously a Munster final against either Limerick or Tipperary, which you'd expect them to come through. So they will improve. They will get better. No mistake about that. Sharon says, do the refs not allow teams to tackle anymore? Yeah, I mean, he certainly has called a lot of fouls, and a lot of them have been quite soft, it must be said. Some of them have been fouls, like there have been tugs on shirts, a few heavy challenges here and there. Big turnover there from Kerry and Gavin Y. Marty says Kerry are overhyped like last year. Dublin will still be the team to beat again this year. Well, I hope you're right, Marty. I sure do. Look, if Dublin are watching this, I'm sure they'll look at it and think they will take confidence from it. Make no mistake about that. Obviously, Dublin have a lot of work to do themselves, and you're seeing how Cork are setting up here. Like, Dublin play man to man at the back, so Dublin haven't played like this year. So if they were to play like that against Kerry, it would be a complete flip from the way that they have played. So it will be very different, but we don't know. We'll see what happens. Irish guy says, well, the coach is from Tyrone. That's exactly the point, isn't it? Paddy Tally's obviously part of the backroom team, and you can certainly see the influence that he's had on this side. We've seen them play quite like this quite a bit at times, but the energy in attack hasn't quite been there like against Mayo. But they are in possession of the ball here, working forward. Nothing's gonna come from that, but the ref has called yet another foul again. It really has been a game of freeze, really, this one, to be honest. good or bad influence, that is the question. I think we'll know that answer, I suppose, when we see at the end of the year. When we see whether Kerry have delivered that All Ireland, got to an All Ireland final, or what they have delivered. It's a hard one to judge it at this moment in time. What you would have to say, up until this moment in time, you'd have to say it has worked, because they'd one of the best defenses throughout the league. They won the league quite convincingly as well. I know they lost to Tyrone, but at the same time, they won every other game. Obviously, drew with Kildare, won 5 out of 7 games, beat Mayo in the final. They are winning this game by 4 points as it stands. It might not be pretty, it might not be entertaining, it might not be what we're used to seeing from Kerry, but if it delivers an All-Ireland, and if it does get them over the line, I don't think Kerry fans will celebrate and they'll enjoy it, but they do have a lot to work on. Certainly, they're at times in attack it hasn't quite been there, and even though they have been quite defensive in the game, they still have given away a lot of fouls. Like Cork have kicked 10 points in the game, so it's not like they've kept Cork at bay for large parts of the game, but they will certainly have a lot to work on. But a good point there from Paul Gainey, makes it a 5-point game now, and going into the final 13 minutes, it's a big task at hand here for Cork. GAA lad says Kerry are pulling away, and that was the point I was making at half time, wasn't it? Can Cork keep up this same energy, those same the turnovers, and obviously going forward as well? Do they still have the same energy conditioning wise as well? Because they have been at a completely different level to Kerry over the last couple of years. Division 2 team, they were battling relegation, whereas Kerry are up there, trying to win leagues, trying to win All Irelands. Sean O'Shea stands over it again. He hasn't missed a free so far, and that record continues. He's been excellent. Kerry just don't miss those opportunities. 6-point game now. Sean Porter's had a very good game from a Cork point of view, in my opinion. He goes off. Tig Corkery comes on. Jack says Kerry will win by 9 or 10 still, and it's looking like that at the minute. Cork will need to get the next score, need to start winning some of these kickouts. They win this ball, but we'll see here what they can do with it. Kerry starting to find turnovers a bit more. Ref calls another foul. Bit of space here for Stephen O'Brien to work with. You're see when the difference is between both teams is when Cork have the ball and Kerry are sort of getting a lot of men behind the ball. Cork are passing it from side to side. They're just not quite getting the spaces. They're not working it into their shooters. Whereas Kerry, you can see, are running directly at Cork, and they're creating space. And lovely point there from Stephen O'Brien, his second of the game. And for those watching on Sky, you'll see a graphic there. 22 kickouts won from Kerry as opposed to 9 for Cork. But Cork do win this one. So let's see what they can do with it. Heavy enough challenge there from Stephen O'Brien, but Cork still have the ball. They run into trouble. It's another turnover again from Kerry, is it? It is. So Kerry are getting those turnovers now, and Cork's sort of physicality that we've seen in the first half and early on in the second half just isn't quite there at the minute. And Kerry now are starting to pull away. They really, really are. Paul Gainey on the ball there. That looks over the bar, and it is. Or Paddy Clifford, I should say. 8 points in it now. And it's game over now, isn't it? Game, set, and match. Look, Cork will take, they'll take some confidence from the fact that they showed a lot of energy in the first half. They made a game of it. They tried. They've put their bodies on the line. They haven't rolled over like a lot of people have expected. And I don't think Kerry have been poor in this game at all. Like, I think they've played well. Like, you see when they've been attacking, they've worked the ball quickly. They've moved the ball quickly. Very clinical in front of goal as well. They haven't missed that many chances. Here comes David Clifford venturing forward. Big save there from Dylan Foley. And David Clifford, who has been very anonymous in this game, it must be said. He's very rarely been on the ball. That was the first time we've seen him on the ball in quite a while. But a good save there from Dylan Foley. So yeah, Cork on the ball here. They need to get a couple of scores at this point. Really, it's it's just damage limitation. They really need to start working goals. To be honest, it's wide there from Cathal O'Mahony. Kerry 8 points to the good, cruising really. It must be said at this moment in time. Irish guy says getting numbers behind the ball to make up for weak backs, and well, that was the idea that Peter Keane had, wasn't it, in 2020 against Cork? It hasn't, it isn't new news that Kerry have struggled defensively. They certainly don't have the warriors that they had in defence, when they were winning All Irelands in the mid 2000s. But look, it has worked so far this year. The system that they're playing, and they will need to improve certainly. And going up against some better, they will be playing better teams if they're going to win All Irelands. They'll probably get a tougher test in a quarter-final, semi-final, final. But they've been very clinical in front of goal. I think they've only had 2, maybe 3 wides in the game. Very clinical in front of goal. They've drawn a lot of fouls. They've been decisive in possession, won the majority of their kickouts. They allowed Cork to live in the game because of how they've set up. But I think if you're winning against Cork by 9-10 points, then you can't say what you've done is wrong. So yeah, but Cork will be heading to the qualifiers unless they do something miraculous here. Sean O'Shea pulling away. You can just see the difference in quality as well when Kerry attack. When Kerry attack, there's a lot of fluidity with their play. There's a lot of movement. Players running off the shoulder. Whereas with Cork, it's just very stagnant. And you've seen there with Sean O'Shea, catches the ball, runs around his man, and then slots it over. 9 points now. And I think I said, I can't remember what my prediction was at halftime. I think I said 120-12. So, look, maybe I might get that one right, but we'll see. We'll see. You'd probably fancy Kerry to get more here as it stands, because still 7 minutes to go. And the difference as well, as I was saying early on in the stream, is that if things aren't going well for Kerry, they have options to bring off the bench. They brought on David Moore, and he's made a big impact in the game. He's won a couple of kickouts. Paul Gainey's kicked a couple of points coming on for Tony Brosnan. Kerry have a lot of depth in their squad, and that is something, that's a big plus to them over some other counties, in my opinion. Like with Mayo's injuries, they don't quite have the same depth in their squad. Dublin don't have as much depth in their squad anymore. With a couple of injuries, it's a lovely point there. Cork bringing it back to an 8-point game. Daniel Deneen, I think it was there, if I'm correct. It wasn't Daniel Deneen, was the substitute, McSweeney. Lovely score from him there. So brings it back to an 8-point game, but obviously at this point it's damage limitation. I think we all know that. John O'Rourke goes off, Brian Hayes comes on. For Cork now, it's they're emptying their bench at this stage. They know it's all about the qualifiers. That's what it's about at this stage now for Cork. And look, with the teams in the qualifiers, it's very hard to see Cork come through the qualifiers. I'm not too sure if Cork have ever finished a championship. I wonder when the last time Cork finished a championship without a win. That must be a long time ago if it's ever happened. But that is a very realistic possibility this year because of the teams in those qualifiers. Normally, you might get a Leitrim or something in the qualifiers, but because of how the championship is structured this year, it does mean that they're likely to get a tough team. But we'll see what happens. Kerry in possession again. They're just finding a lot more spaces now in the game, and Cork standing off. Kerry quite a bit. Lovely point there by the substitute. 20 points to 11 now, and Kerry's bench, as we said, making the difference. And Kerry all set now for the Munster final, which will be against either Limerick or Tipperary. And you are looking at it and thinking you probably will see the same type of game, to be honest. The Munster final certainly will be one-sided, as you would expect, but whoever does come through that, either Limerick or Tipperary, they'll look at what Cork have done here, and they've said, if we can do that a little bit better, Limerick certainly a lot better in the transition than Cork. They're not, they're more used to playing that way. They have a lot more runners, but the difference is, like, Limerick don't really, whereas Cork have a Stephen Sherlock or a Cathal O'Mahony. Like, Limerick don't have too many natural shooters who can kick from 30, 40 meters, from what I've seen anyway. Could be wrong on that, but we'll wait and see. Obviously Tipperary do in terms of Conor Sweeney, but look, it'll be an interesting Munster semi-final. It certainly will be. Marty says Cork should be better. They have more players playing football than most counties. They definitely should. They've had a poor year, in my opinion, even though they've avoided relegation, but they shouldn't have been in that relegation battle. When you look at, they won an under-20 All-Ireland there. What was it, in 2019? They have a lot of very good players. They've produced a lot of good players, in the last couple of years. You've got Mark Cronin in there. Obviously, you look at St. Finbarrs, how well they've done at club level. Like, Cork have plenty of good talent, but a lot of players opting out, not making themselves available. Different things like that. Seems to be a couple of issues behind the scenes with Cork, as there always is. So, but if they can get their house in order, they could certainly do a lot better in an overall aspect. Look, this Kerry team is a brilliant team, and they'll probably beat a couple of teams, by 7, 8 plus this year. Make no mistake about that. So you can't really fault them too much for this result or this game. But as a whole, as looking at the year overall, like, they definitely should be doing a lot better, in my opinion. Some people were even thinking they could get promoted to Division 1. So, it's been a disappointing couple of years. Damo says, what year did Cork play Dublin in All-Ireland final and went to extra time? Cork didn't come out for it. Clear win for Dublin. I think that was a league semi-final. But yeah, it was in the 80s anyway. Obviously long before my time, but I've certainly heard the story all right of I think the Cork players had to catch a train or something. So they couldn't play extra time. So yeah, the referee just played on with just the Dublin team. I'd recommend searching it up on YouTube, because it's actually quite funny, to be honest. A lot of irony and humor shown from the referee just to play on the game with one team. Zool says, thanks from the video. I watch your video from Mexico. Very good, my man. Appreciate your comments. Hope life is good for you and all is good. Certainly very hard to keep up with GAA action over in Mexico, I'd imagine that. But 10 points. The difference here as we close into the final few minutes here in injury time. There will be a match reaction after the game in about 10-15 minutes time. As soon as this stream ends, I'll go about setting that one up, and then some of you lads can join me over there for the match reaction. And then that's it. That's all she wrote. Kerry 10 points up. And yeah, if you could smash the like button and subscribe if you're new, that would be much appreciated. There will be a whole host of streams and all the rest throughout the championship. Planning on doing a stream for every provincial final this year, and obviously I might do one for Dublin Meath next week, depending on whether I'm going to the game or not. We'll have to wait and see. But certainly a lot of streams and podcasts and all the rest coming in the coming weeks and months. So stay tuned for that. But Cork on the ball here, keeping possession. Obviously it's game over. What you would say is Cork have never, they seem very content in the last sort of 10-15 minutes with them losing by 7-8 points. And they haven't really gone for goals or, tried to make it interesting. But Kerry have been very, very dominant, haven't they? But yeah, Magsy says here, Donegal v Cavan prediction ahead of tomorrow. Yeah, I would expect Donegal to come through. I'd say it could be a very similar game to this one, to be perfectly honest. You would expect Cavan to be very well set up at the back and try and play in a similar way to how they beat Donegal in 2020 as well. Obviously similar to the Cork beating Kerry. The difference being, though, is that Donegal aren't as good as Kerry, so I don't think they'll be as clinical in front of goal. Maybe it might be closer, but we'll wait and see. But you would expect Donegal to come through it. But we'll have to wait and see. Kerry looking to finish off with another score. Would be curious to hear what Cork fans, Kerry fans think of this one. For Cork fans, I mean, it maybe hasn't been as bad as what people expected in terms of it hasn't been a 15 plus, but it's still an 11-point victory, and Kerry have been very comfortable, you would say, for large parts of the game. They've been very comfortable. David Clifford with a free there, 22-11. Moving into the final 2 minutes of the game. And yeah, it's been comprehensive, comfortable from the Kingdom. Make no mistake about that. Very composed. They didn't wilt under the pressure as well. When Cork put it up to them, they stood up to them. And look, I think Kerry have played well, to be fair. They haven't missed that many opportunities. They haven't put many balls wide. Cork haven't had any goal chances in the game. And they've conceded just 4 points in the second half. There's been a little bit of indiscipline in the first half, but whilst people might criticize how Kerry are going about winning these games, if you're winning by 11, 12 points, clearly you're doing something right, aren't you? So yeah, can Kerry finish up the day with a score? Paul Gainey on the ball. No one getting tight enough to him, and he's able to put that one over. And yeah, whilst Cork done well in the first half defensively and done very well defensively in the game in the first half, and were very tight to Kerry's forwards and were able to get blocks in, challenges in. They haven't done that in the second half and haven't been able to keep up that same sort of consistent performance that we've seen in the first half. And there is the final whistle. Kerry, 12-point winners in the end. Probably a result that we expected, probably a scoreline that we expected realistically. I think very much if you spoke to anyone during the week, I think they would have said Kerry by 10 plus, and that's how it worked out. Maybe it was a lot closer in the first half than people would have thought, but Kerry in the end getting the victory, getting the job done, and massive congratulations to them. Well, look, I suppose we'll wrap this up here. There will be a match reaction that will be out in about 15-20 minutes time. We'll be going live, so make sure to keep your eyes peeled on the channel as well. We'll be discussing the game a little bit more, breaking it down in a bit more detail, and discussing more the game overall. So yeah, if you enjoyed the stream, smash the like button, subscribe if you're new, and yeah, much appreciated for all the comments and for anyone who tuned in. Quite a good amount of people tuning in to this stream, so much appreciated. And yeah, appreciate all the comments, all the rest, much appreciated. So yeah, stay tuned for the match reaction. That'll be out in a couple of minutes. I'll see you all soon.